I gave these to my kid to bring to a party, forgetting that there was espresso. I didn't think about it. They were up till 2 in the morning. They might have been anyway, though. Hi, I'm Melissa Clark, and I'm in the NYT Cooking kitchen studio to make Vietnamese coffee brownies because it's cookie week, and cookie week is the best week. Every cookie box needs to have that chocolate moment, and I like it when it's really fudgy. And so every year I think, well, how can I create something that's a little bit different from what I did last year? And I was drinking a Vietnamese coffee because I love Vietnamese coffee, and I thought sweetened condensed milk, espresso, this would taste really good made into a brownie. And the key to a good brownie is balancing the sweet with the bitter. I'm doing that through chocolate and through espresso powder, and it's just such a good combination with the sweetened condensed milk to temper the whole thing and make it more fun and pretty. I have a 9-inch pan, just a regular brownie pan. You could do this in an 8-inch pan, but it will take you longer to bake, so just leave it in the oven. Or you can also do this in a 9x13. They'll be very thin and delicate, which is nice too. I have done it in all 3 pans, so it works whatever pan you have. Why butter the pan if you're gonna line it with parchment? The batter often leaks out underneath the parchment, and if it's buttered, then it won't stick. Also, the butter helps the parchment stick to the pan. It's just like it's an insurance policy. It's just gonna make sure that these come out really nicely. I'm gonna leave some overhang, and the overhang is gonna help me lift it out later when they're baked. Okay, pan is ready. First thing you want to do is melt your chocolate, and I melt it with the butter at the same time. The butter protects it so it doesn't burn, so I find it just much easier. I'm just letting the butter get a little melty so that there's a coating on the bottom of the pan, and then I'm going to add my chocolate. I am using unsweetened chocolate here because here's the thing about brownies. You need to use a lot of sugar to get that crackly, delicious, crunchy crust. And if you use unsweetened chocolate while using a lot of sugar, your brownies won't be too sweet. So if you stuck your finger in this right now, not that you would, but if you did, it would taste really bad because there's no sugar in it yet. So it looks really good. But don't taste it yet. So I've turned off the heat, and I'm just gonna let the remaining chocolate and butter melt in the residual heat of the pan to make sure it doesn't burn, and also just to let it cool down a little bit because we don't want to add the eggs until this mixture is cool so they don't get scrambled. I'm going to make the entire brownie batter in one pan because I love a one-pan recipe and I hate doing dishes. I'm going to switch over to a whisk at this point, and I'm going to whisk in my sugar. I know it's a lot of sugar, but like I said, that is what gives the brownies those crackly tops. So you always want to whisk your sugar in before you add your eggs, and that helps further cool down the mixture. This is just unsweetened cocoa powder. Using cocoa and melted chocolate in brownies gives you the richest flavor. For eggs, whenever you add eggs to a batter and you're whisking, always whisk them in one at a time, because if you crack them all in and then you try to whisk, it will splash. It will splash up in your face and you will be sad. Again, you're looking for a rich flavor, and a lot of vanilla extract really gives you a richness that works well with chocolate. Finally, all-purpose flour. You don't need a lot of flour for brownies because you want them to be chewy. You want that like gooey, chewy texture. We do not go for cakey brownies here. We like to go for chewy brownies. So if you love walnuts or almonds or cashews, this is the point where you would want to add them. I'm just using chocolate chips. So you have your chocolate brownies and your chocolate chips. Why say no to chocolate? Just keep adding it. Now you can taste it. Now if you stuck your finger in there, you'd be very happy. Heavy, I know. Am I especially weak? Okay, and now we'll make the topping. I didn't tell you about one ingredient for this brownie. I tried to make this with just sweetened condensed milk. I added egg to sweetened condensed milk, but both times it kind of fades into the brownie, and to keep the color and to also give it just a richer mouthfeel, I anchor the sweetened condensed milk in cream cheese. You want your cream cheese to be room temperature. So if you forgot to take it out of the fridge, put it in the microwave on low for a few seconds just to get it nice and creamy. You don't need a lot of sweetened condensed milk, just a little bit, and it still flavors all of the cream cheese. And then you get to keep the extra sweetened condensed milk, put the rest in a jar and put it in your freezer. And then when you're really starving and you need like a sweet fix, in the middle of the night, it's there for you. You want to make sure that there are no lumps. Any lumps that are left in the topping at this point will stay lumpy in your topping when you put it onto the brownie. So look how glossy and smooth. Look how beautiful. So this is ground espresso beans, or you could use ground coffee. Either one, it's completely fine. I'm going to add it to the topping, but I don't want it to get too mixed in. I want it to be very visible and almost like in streaks, because we're going to mix it more in this. So very little mixing. And now I'm going to dollop this on top, and then I'm going to swirl it in. I'm using a little offset spatula for swirling because it's easier to really get in there. And what you want to do is you want to get into the bottom of the chocolate, because I don't want it to just look white. I want it to look swirly. So this, I think, is perfect. You don't want to over swirl it, because then you're just going to mix it all together. The combination of salt, chocolate, and espresso is perfect. It's really good. Now I'm going to bake it at 350. I'm going to be careful not to over bake it, and I will show you what you're looking for so you know when it's done. I'm going to check these at 30, but it's probably 30 to 40 minutes. A little longer if you're using an 8-inch pan, a little shorter if you're using a 9x13. It's been 30 minutes. I think these are ready. So this is what the toothpick should look like. You want it to not be gooey, but you need to have crumbs clinging to it. This is exactly right. Okay, so now I want to let these cool completely. You really want to give them a couple of hours before you start cutting into them, because they need to solidify. So just let them sit for a couple of hours, or if you like, once they're cool, you could throw them in the fridge and let them get really cold, in which case they'll cut beautifully. I'm just going to run an offset spatula around the sides just to make sure that it comes out nice and cleanly. Pops right out. Okay, here's another secret that I learned about cutting brownies. If you flip them over and cut them upside down, they actually cut more neatly. I don't know why this is, but it just is. I'm going to try to get these really nice and neat, so I'm going to clean the knife between every couple of cuts. And these are so uneven, it is unbelievable. Luckily, they taste just as good. So of course, naturally, I had to pair my Vietnamese coffee brownies with a little Vietnamese iced coffee. Give it a little stir. The best part is the spoon, though. It's everything I want in a brownie. It is chewy. It is not too sweet. It has a beautiful, crisp layer on top. It's got the sweetened condensed milk, which just adds a little bit of lightness. And then that bite of espresso to just temper everything, and a little bit of salt. I think these are really good brownies. Brownies are such a good holiday recipe because you can make them ahead. So you can make these, leave them in the pan, just cover them really well, throw them in the fridge, and they'll actually keep for about a week, even longer. Brownies also freeze well. Anything else? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the best part of Cookie Week. I love developing the recipes, but I really love eating everybody else's cookie recipes too. Should we see? Oh my gosh, it's stunning. It's beautiful. To get this recipe, plus all the other cookie recipes for Cookie Week, you can go to nytcooking.com, you can click the link below, or you can download our app. Happy brownie, happy coffee. Okay, these are beautiful. Ooh, lime, really good, delicious.